Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Truth Will Set You Free show. This show is brought to you by TLBTV and the Liberty Beacon Project. I'm your host, Linda Diane Wattley, and I am excited today, as I always am with my guests. I want to start out by first saying that my guest has a very, very unique created name. Her name is CaDori, right?
Yes.
And she has to tell us before I go any farther how you came up with that name.
Okay. The name is a combination of my name, which is Kathy. My mom's name is Doris, and my son, who passed away from a motorcycle accident, we called him Dougie. So I combined the names for something unique and different.
Definitely. So,
yes.
Okay, so on a regular basis, that's what people actually call you, or is that your business name?
Business name, yes. Brand,
okay.
yes.
When you walk around the world, they call you what?
Yes.
What do they call you on a regular basis?
Kathy.
Okay, Kathy. Kathy is down in Texas. How is the weather down there? Is it being affected by the hurricane?
It's hot now. It was some rain for about 4 or 5 days, but now it's just hot again.
And so it's got to be humid, huh?
Very humid, very.
Yes. But anyway, this person is someone that I admire. At a young age, she has proven to be a trailblazer. And I don't even think she realized she's a trailblazer, but as we talk, you'll see why I say that. Because she's more than a survivor. She's a person who is living through trauma. So she's more than a survivor. And she is actually the eldest of 13 children.
I'm the second oldest girl, but the second oldest, yes.
Oh my goodness. And you have how many daughters?
Do I have daughters? Yeah, I have 3 daughters, but I'm one of 8 girls.
And
but I have 3 daughters myself.
The reason why I'm emphasizing on the females in your life is because I want people to understand that you do not realize the example that you are giving these females in your life, that they too can pick up their bed and walk, because you do pick up your bed and walk, and you never look back to a certain point, which blessed humanity.
Thank you.
Because of that, you have not just blessed your seed and your siblings, you're blessing the world. And to me, at your age, because you're so young with it, you give so much of yourself. I just don't understand how you was able to be so wise at such a young age. Because when I read your book that we'll be talking about later, I was like, this sounds like an old soul. Because you understand relationships, you understand struggle, you understand what our youth need today. And when you can get in touch with children, to me, that speaks volumes. But anyway, she's a very professional lady. She has her own business. She's an entrepreneur. She has her own clothing line. It's called I Love Myself.
I Love Me, yes.
I Love Me. How did you come up with a clothing line?
Just trying to promote a lot of self, just making people feel good about themselves. So during the course of me writing the book last year, I thought about what can help empower people. So it's for men and women. I Love Me, yeah, because self-preservation is first. So
how was that received?
I'm sorry?
How was that received, that clothing line?
Very well. A lot of people have bought it, and actually I'm getting ready to do something special with it in the month of October for breast cancer. So you will be seeing some more things coming out for that.
Wow, that is awesome. She also has a lot of nonprofit, what would you call it, where you help other people I mean, you was helping
Yeah.
people during the Hurricane Harvey. Tell us about that organization,
Yes.
how you help people with that.
I started the CaDori Helping Hand with backpacks filled with school supplies because I know that the parents don't have them August of 2017. So I just went from that to helping like families with personal care items, toiletries, single moms with diapers, and then it went into Thanksgiving. We did turkeys and hams to people in need, and then for Christmas we did a coat drive. So we did a whole bunch since it started just a year ago.
And you have one that's very dear to your heart. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, I have Dougie's Kids. That one I started in 2011 after my son, Bobby, who we call Dougie, passed away in 2010, October 2010, from a motorcycle accident. So he didn't have kids, but he was always mentoring kids and doing things for kids. So we started that in honor of his name to give scholarships and things to kids. So yeah, that's still doing and helping people now.
Wow, that is so beautiful how you did that for him. And
Thank you.
you are a phenomenal author as well. You have
Yes.
written a couple of cookbooks. Tell us about those cookbooks before we talk about your main book.
I did a cookbook in 2011 and 2012, and it had like over 100 recipes. A lot of my colleagues, nurses and doctors from around, the world, they donated recipes. So there's recipes, Mexican, Italian, it's all sorts in there. And it was more of one for personal. I didn't publish it. So I sold like about 200 copies, but I do plan on doing another cookbook soon, hopefully by the holidays.
And tell us about your recent book.
My recent book, I published it in June 2017, and it was debuted at the New York Book Expo Book Con in New York City at the Javits Center, and it's titled Women, Put Yourself First to Be Happier. It's an inspirational book for women and girls just to uplift and inspire.
Yes, indeed. And it's very resourceful as far as if you have daughters. I think
Yes.
boys probably could enjoy it too and gain a lot from it as well. But to me, I think that's a great book for people who have teenage daughters to give them an idea
Yes.
of what it means to go from being a girl to a young lady. I mean, the things and challenges that a lot of experiences parents can't explain to them until they occur, but if they read your book, they'll have a heads up on it. So I really hope that book really becomes really successful. Tell me, how did you end up handing your book to Kevin Hart?
Well, first of all, the background on it, it just came from a place to where I saw myself, women I knew, coworkers. By the time most women reach their mid to upper 30s, their kids are going off to college and things like that. If they haven't poured into themselves at younger ages, they start to, feel like they need to figure out who they are and do for themselves. So I think that if you start at a younger age, catch the girls as teenagers and they start pouring into themselves, loving themselves, traveling, getting to know who they are, you can bypass a lot of the obstacles that and heartache that we go through because we're always giving to everybody else. And we put ourselves last on every list. And then later in life, we realize the importance of putting yourself first.
And your son was one of the people that kind of put you on that path, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, even as a kid years ago, he would say, Mom, you got to do it for yourself. You got to do it for yourself first. Make yourself happy. He would always say that when he was a teenager because he'd always taught me doing for everybody else and not doing for myself. And I didn't get that message till after he was gone, really. So, through therapy and just really working on myself over the last 6-7 years, I decided to write a book and just start really living my life to the fullest that I can do.
And see, actually, your background is in nursing.
I'm a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for 20 years, and I've done all types: ER, cardiac, neuro, just every area of nursing I've done because I've done some travel nursing. So you get exposed to a lot.
But you're also known as a self-help specialist.
Yes. So the book, that book is really under a self-help category because it tells you like tools and things you can do to help motivate yourself and help get yourself to where you want to be happier. So yeah, I do a lot of motivational, inspirational speaking.
And another thing about you, we can't leave it out, is your relationship with God is really your foundation.
Foundation. Oh yeah, man. Pray all the time without God, I wouldn't be here today. With everything that I've been through, I had to have faith to endure because, most people would give up. You can get knocked down 1,000 times, but you got to keep getting up. You can't ever give up because the next day it'll get better. It gets better and better as long as you fight and you have faith in God. You know that He's going to see you through the other side.
Well, I feel I take my hat out to you, off to you, because when your son just was taken from your life, you still found a way to trust God and kept moving. And one of the words that I hear parents use after they lose a child is new normal. What do they actually mean by that?
Well, you never really will be the same again. So you just have to accept it. The way I've dealt with it is finding my purpose and living that out because I know that's what my son would have wanted me to do. But you'll always have the pain. It never really goes away, but you just have to learn how to see the good things in life and think about it in a different way. How I think about it is my son wouldn't want me to be sad. He wouldn't want me to be on drugs or be down and out. So those type of things I know he wouldn't want. I don't allow myself to go all the way to that level. So I just do things to help other people. And I tell people, if you ever feel down and out, if you go help people, volunteer to shelter, you'll forget about your troubles because there's always going to be somebody else that need your help. And, it gives you a purpose. Yeah.
So how did your daughters feel when you wrote your book? Did they have any input or anything?
One of my daughters, actually, my youngest daughter, actually helped me edit the book. So she was very involved with it. But all three of them is how I raised them. So they're used to all of this. So they're like, it's what you've always told us. It's just like you talking to us. And some people that I know, they're like, it's just like having a girls chat. When I read your book, it's like we're having a conversation.
Oh, so have any guys or any men said anything about the book?
Yeah, I've been interviewed by a lot of men, all different nationalities, and the ones that have read it, they love it because it's an inspirational book that anyone can read. It's no male bashing. It's nothing against men. It's just something to inspire and motivate women. So it has nothing to do with men. In fact, they should read it.
So when you decided to write this book, what was going on with you that you was able to put your chapters together because you knew which topic that you wanted to go into? How did you decide that?
It's something that's always been with me. I've been writing since I was in high school, but I just never published anything. So I've always been a writer, but it's just my life experiences. And as being a nurse and hearing people talk about their challenges and everything from A to Z, you wouldn't believe being a nurse, people tell you everything, even stuff that doesn't have anything to do with why they're there. I just kept hearing the theme, and I'm like, I talk to people and counsel people anyway. Without writing a book, I just put all that into a book. It's stuff I've always been saying and doing anyway.
So why do you think that women have a difficult time putting themselves first?
It's because of society and how you were raised. A lot of times you're raised to put other people in front of you. Society, look at the mom and dad situation. When things happen with kids, the first person they blame is the mom. It's almost like you don't have the one parent because it's extra burden and pressure put on women even as girls. So, it's just there. So you have to kind of reprogram yourself to, know that, hey, self-preservation is the first act. And if I don't do for myself first, nobody else will. And you think about when you get on that airplane, I put it in my book. When you hear them say in the case of emergency, put your oxygen mask on first. They don't say your child, your husband, your parent, your friend, you, because you're going to be oxygen deprived if the plane goes down. You're going to die. So that's the same example for life. You have to do for yourself first. You have to.
And I tell you one part in that book when you was talking about, I think it's called Mending Fences. Was that the name of that book with Denzel? That's that movie?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, yes.
When you said that, let me see, what did she say? She
She
said,
said, I buried my dreams deep down inside of you. And I'm telling you, when I saw that movie, just brought tears to my eyes because I'm like, first of all, he wasn't even living his dream. But you buried your dream deep down inside of him. Nobody's going to live your dream for you. You have to do it. It's your dream, it's your gifts and talents, and you have to make them become a reality.
so what made you get in touch with that particular part of the movie? Did it have any
I
personal
mean, just
effect
sitting
or
there
it's
listening
just,
to the movie, it kind of reminded me of all the stories that women have said over the years to me, friends, some things I had been through. And it was just so on point. And I'm like, wow, this woman literally gave her life to this man. And he wasn't perfect. She could have done those things and probably been so much more happier, but she just didn't. You only get one life.
but you said a lot of profound things. I just wish that book could be given to so many schools because one of the things
I'm
you,
trying.
huh?
I'm trying. I'm actually working with a publicist now, and I want to get it on a large platform because it is inspirational and motivational, and I believe it will impact some people's lives because some people never hear those type of things. They're raised different. Some people may be in foster homes. You just never know how it can impact people's lives.
And see, I just know that it really needs to go into the schools, and even especially if the boys to get a hold of, at least they'll understand a female better too. Because my son, he's like mentoring in the school system, and one of the things that just hurts his heart is how low self-esteem beautiful girls have. I mean, just
I would love
low.
that.
That
Oh, I
book will
would love
so
that,
helpful
Linda.
to them because it'll make them understand that it's about them. Because like something as simple as like you said, take care of your health. I mean, it takes so many years before a woman get in touch with that. Something has to go wrong because she's so busy taking care of
Exactly.
everybody else.
Exactly. I would love that, Linda. I would love to get into the schools. I travel, so if there's anything going on in your area that I could speak at or come and share my story and bring books, I would love that. I would love that. I welcome that all the time.
And I just love that when you said, go where you are celebrated, not tolerated. That is serious.
Very. And I came to that conclusion years after I had given and given and given and given. It was more of a family thing where I was always traveling and going and just trying to please people. It comes from that people pleasing. You got to follow your gut instinct. It doesn't matter if they're close to you, related, whatever. You cannot be the one giving the most, and you cannot be the one constantly doing and other people aren't putting back into you or just
Exactly.
tolerating you because you're there. You have to be true to yourself.
But I mean, if a young girl would know early, like you mentioned in your book, you can't make someone like you. Can you
Right,
imagine what they could be doing with their time instead of thinking that they can get someone to like them?
right. Right. You have to value yourself. Once you learn to love yourself and value yourself, it's just some things you won't accept or tolerate. You just won't, because you deserve more.
And see, it also reminds me, because you're very conscious about, the suicidal mentality of our youth today too, because you had mentioned something that I had never heard of before. I think you call it mono. Is that what they call it? It took the place of the Tide Pod Challenge.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
what is the mono? Is it MO challenge? That
Yeah. I just think that the kids are, they want to fit in, the peer pressure. They want to fit in so bad that they're willing to do things that literally risk their lives and can take their lives when you're dealing with any kind of drugs and stuff. And it reminds me of things we've seen in the ER, like how they'll try different drugs, sniffing like potpourri and all kinds of stuff. They mix stuff together all the time, not knowing that those things kill them. Some of it stops their heart, stops their respirations. but it's all because of peer pressure and trying to fit in and want to please other people instead of following your gut instinct.
And see, that's why I feel like your book is priceless and valuable, because if they had a direction, because you also, we had talked about how parents today are not actually parenting.
Right.
They don't have a chance to be a child.
Right.
And your book kind of give them a path.
Right.
And that's
it's kind of a little bit of a blueprint, kind of a little bit of teaching and a little bit of parenting as well. But yeah, you know, they didn't know it and they don't know how to communicate with their kids and they didn't learn it. Their hands of teenagers and preteens, it affects their lives forever, you know, if it doesn't take their life, you know?
So like if a child came to you and they're distraught, do you approach them spiritually, like talking about God, or do you try to deal with their psyche?
I listen, you know, without interrupting, because a lot of times it's all about just listening and let people get their feelings out of them, out into the open. And then I try to figure out what the real issue is, because, you know, everything stems from something. And, you know, I would listen to them, offer them some guidance in dealing with whatever it is they're dealing with, which most of it goes back to low self-esteem, wanting to fit in, peer pressure, all that stuff. And then I always recommend counseling. And I tell them how I had to get grief counseling when I lost my son. Because, you know, something like that, you end up on drugs, alcohol, if not trying to take your own life. You know, you get so down and out, you could. So I just tell them a little bit about my life, but I mostly listen to them and try to figure out what's the root cause of what they're talking about, you know, why they're in that situation. And I usually get a great response because I just try to be real with them. I don't try to make it look like I'm perfect and I had it all together. You know, when you talk to people like that, they're usually open up to you more.
Wow. And you also tell people to not be the one making the relationship happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I always use the example is every relationship is like two glasses of water and you're both half full. If you keep pouring into the other person, they're going to be full and you're going to be bone dry empty. And you can't do that. So it's a give and take in every relationship. If you're the one giving the most, you're going to end up dry. And that's the cost to pay. Any relationship, it has to be give and take.
What would you say to a person who has been through so many things and they don't want to hear about God? What do you say to them to make them even consider God?
Mm-hmm. I've talked to people like that. In fact, I'm in a mother's group, a grief group where all of us lost our kids, all ages, from premature babies to stillborn all the way up. And there's some women in the group that said things about, you know, I don't want to talk about God. Why did God do this to me? Things like that. It's the same formula. I just let them air what they feel, and I don't come at them and talk about God. Then I'll just talk to them about their feelings and some things I've been through, because you don't want to shove it down people's throats. You want to get them a chance to go through the process. They're just angry and they're lost. They don't know what to do now, so they will blame God when things happen that are bad in their life. So yeah, some people do that.
So what would you consider a basic foundation for a teenager to come into touch with God?
You know, I was raised in a home where I believed in God and, you know, we worship God and all that. Some people, it just depends on how they were raised and where they're coming from. I just believe that your foundation is everything. But if I talk to someone and they didn't believe in God, I would try to find out why. And, you know, you really need that spiritual connection. You need to believe in a higher power than yourself. You know, that's how people get into trouble, because they try to take on all this stuff themselves. You know, there has to be a God. You got to look at your life. You can see God if you look back and look at your life, where you probably were and what you came through.
So what was the first thing that you heard a woman say after she read your book that made you realize that you had really did a good job?
Oh my gosh, I heard everything from my coworkers to strangers and everything. The people that actually read the book said, "Man, I can relate to this. I can't believe you said that. I've been through this." That's true. You know, they're like surprised to see it in words and somebody actually say it, because most people won't say things because they're scared to say the truth because they're scared what somebody else is gonna say. I have no fear. I've dealt with a whole lot. You know, burying a child, you're either gonna roll over and die or you're gonna be fearless, and I'm just fearless.
Yes, you are.
Yeah,
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah.
So basic, what is your bottom line? Tell us the name of that book again.
Women, put yourself first and be happier.
And Be Happier. You
Yes,
had to put that on there, didn't you?
yes. That's important.
The thing about it is, like I said, you didn't miss anything. You,
Yeah,
you didn't want women to feel guilty about being happy about themselves.
right.
And that is a true flaw that we have.
We do. Well, we feel like we don't deserve it. And it goes back, like I said, to society and how you were raised. You don't feel like you deserve the happiness. If you do, you feel guilty. And that's sad. You know, that's why women suffer more heart attacks now than men. You know, if you look
Wow.
at that, we have more heart attacks than men. Because if you look at men, most times they'll find a way to, you know, do something for themselves or go hang out or whatever. We're the ones that's always with the kids, just doing everything, never having downtime, you know, and it comes at a cost.
And you said, quit making excuses.
They're making excuses. That's the first thing. You got to make it happen. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way to do it.
So how long did it take you to put your book together?
I wrote the book in about 2 weeks.
Really?
Yes, and I had it published in about 2 or 3 months. Yep, it was pretty quick.
So you have any ideas about writing another book? Would it be a part two?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there's more coming. I'm gonna write another book. It'll be talking a little bit about my family life. I'm gonna do another book that's talking a little bit more about health, the health side of things. You know, trying to help women with health, and then of course I'm gonna do a cookbook.
Well, tell me, what would you say to a young woman that just continuously have children, and not a young woman, but still in school? What do you think someone could say to them to make them understand that they need to do more with themselves than to just keep having children?
Well, you know what? That definitely comes from a place of lack and a place of insecurity, because if you look at it financially, it doesn't make any sense. You have to look at what does it cost to raise a child. So, and I actually do that on my radio show. I did something, a show on that, and I was talking about the young women, how they're having multiple babies by different men, and they don't have themselves educated or prepared to take care of a child. And once they get the children, now you want to go out, you want to hang out. It takes a lot to raise a child if you actually raise it yourself. And if you look at what it takes, you're not going to keep having baby after baby by multiple men, because it just doesn't make any sense. You know, that's a life, and that's a life that's going to go out, grow up, and be a certain way based off how you raise it. So I don't think the young women really understand all the details. They just think that, you know, oh, I got a cute little baby, but besides it being cute, there's a lot more. So I actually break it down and talk to them. You know, why do you want to have a baby? Do you think you're financially able? Do you think you're emotionally able? What if you don't have your dad there? You know, because as a woman, if you decide to have a baby, you need to be prepared to raise the baby by yourself. Because there's no guarantee the man's going to be there. He can leave you, he can die, anything. So you need to be prepared physically, mentally, and financially to raise the baby. And I don't think most young women are at all.
So where do you think that understanding should originate from? Home, school, church? How do they come up with the right language to let them know that they should be focused on something different?
I try to talk to them one on one. It's a culture, and it's whoever you're around. You know, it goes back to the same thing, like I said before, trying to fit in and be like everybody else. Because if you notice, the ones that have babies like that early, their friends or their friends' friends. So I tell people in my talks now with young people, if you have 3 friends that are having babies, more than likely you're going to be the fourth. If you have 2 friends that are on drugs that you're around all the time, you're going to be the third. If you have 4 friends that are broke, you're going to be the 5th one that's broke. So it matters who you're hanging around and what you're listening to and reading and what you're taking in. So you just have to be real with them. And I mean, this is the real deal, you know?
And it's really sad that they don't realize what they are doing. I don't really think they get it.
They don't realize it.
Do you think that they're actually coming up with a source of love?
Right. Yeah, I think they're lost. They're misguided. A lot of them not raised by parents in the home. It's either grandparents or they're in foster homes or at friends and families' houses. It's a lot, you know, and I try my best to get a little bit of individuality when I talk to these young people, especially the girls, because they're the ones that are, you know, having the babies and stuff, and really get in their head and really talk to them and show them something different, because a lot of them probably don't know, you know, or haven't been taught.
Yeah, you would be a great spokesperson for that, advocate, you know, because even though you don't put that on your resume, you are an advocate for the homeless, the ones who suffer. I mean, you're an amazing spiritual advocate, and that would be a good feel for you getting in touch with these young girls.
Yeah.
You have to catch them before they become young ladies.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my main goal, to hit the preteens.
Wouldn't that be awesome if they had a class like that in school?
You're the second person that said that, and I really want to do that. I just don't know how to formulate it to get into school, because I was interviewing with Senator Michael Brown some months ago, and he was recommending that on his talk show, that you need to get in these schools and see if you can have a class maybe once a semester that they can come through, get your book and talk to them, because that will really be impactful, especially the inner city schools.
And it's just so sad that, you know, that they can't rely on their parents to give them a roadmap through life. Because I always tell people the parent is the first God that each child has.
Right.
And so they're telling them who they are, what they can become, and what they can have and can't have in life, whether they speak it or not.
Right, right. And you know what I always tell them when I talk to them too, just because your parent, your mother or dad or whoever did something doesn't mean that you have to do it. So you have your own inner voice. You can break cycles. You can. I'm a cycle breaker, you know. I wasn't raised like I am now. My mom never worked, you know. My mom never worked, so I had to work. My mom never really came in who she was supposed to be, because she was always raising kids or, you know, doing things for my dad. So I had to look at myself and say what kind of life I want. I wanted a different type of life.
But did you have anybody that influenced you to want to be in a better place, or did you just come up with that on your own?
I had to do it myself, because my mom never worked. She was very, you know, submissive to my dad, and she just never had her own voice. My mom's the total opposite of me.
I told you it was a trailblazer.
But that's, as a kid, I knew that I wanted something different, you know. So people have their inner voice, but a lot of times they don't follow it.
But you're very comfortable with yours. You had that when you was a child, or did it just come later in life?
Later in life. I always knew it was there, but like I said, after I went through the tragedy with my son and through going through counseling and just really getting in touch with who I am as a person, and realizing that you only live once, you gotta, you know, do all the stuff you have inside of you, that's where it came from.
You do a beautiful job of that. You also value branding. Talk to us about that, because that's important to you too.
Yeah, I think branding is so good, because it's very important, because if you want to be known for whatever you're unique at, I think it's important to go across the board with it, and don't be afraid to brand yourself, because it's, you know, it's you, it's who you are. So whoever you are, if you bring that to it, when people see it, they're going to recognize this is your brand, and you have to put a lot of quality into it.
And what is your brand?
CaDori brand.
Yeah, I know. And love yourself. So that love yourself is not a brand?
No, I Love Me is underneath that. That's just the clothing line underneath. I Love Me by CaDori and it'll have a separate link under it. Yes.
So you're actually an entrepreneur with your own office, huh?
Yes.
So is there a lot of work in a daily schedule?
You know, right now I'm still doing my nursing like 3 days a week. So as I, branch off more from that, I can do more with my businesses. So my businesses are more on a part-time basis now, but going into 2019, I want to do full-time on all the levels. It's just hard to do it when you're working full-time. So that's my
Right.
goal for 2019, to really be full-time in my businesses. And if I have to work part-time, I'll do that. But I really want to just go all out with my businesses.
Well, tell me this, do you have your rest schedule? You know, when you're supposed to go to sleep, or are you a person who stay up for hours, or did you go to bed?
Sometimes I stay up, but for the most part, I try to get at least 7 hours of sleep every night, 7 or 8 hours, because rest is so important for your body. But
Yeah.
sometimes if I have projects or something I'm doing, I will stay up a little later. And usually those are the nights that I don't have to go to work the next day or the weekend.
And what is one of the most important things you want people, not just women, to walk away with about your book?
I want people to walk away knowing that you are a unique individual. There's only one you. If I'm busy being you, who's going to be me? And if you're busy being me, who's going to be you? So never compare yourself to anyone. Always stand up and be who you're supposed to be, because you were created uniquely. And whatever you're going through in life, never give up, because you're about to turn the corner. So never give up. Keep moving forward.
So do you get tired?
Sometimes I do.
It
But
just
when I
doesn't
think
seem
about my
like it.
business
I
and
know
stuff, I
everybody
always
gets
think
tired.
about
I know that's a crazy question, but it seemed like, I don't care when I'm in touch with you, you seem to just appear and just make yourself present and give your
Yeah,
all.
I love it, because it's what's within me, and that's what happens when you find your voice and you find what you love and what you're about. You'll never get tired of that, no matter what.
Wow, that's beautiful. So,
Thanks.
so do you have a ministry?
I don't have a ministry. I just go around and do the inspirational talks and motivational speaking when people, ask me to or send for me. And I want to just go from state to state. I'm not local. I like to travel. So if someone has something for me, I make plans and go.
So once your book was finished, how did you actually feel about your book? What did you really expect of your book?
Well, when I first did it, I was really applauding myself for finally doing it. But I knew that it would probably ruffle some feathers, especially with men, because I have had a few to say, "Oh, well, are you talking about men?" I'm like, "No, I don't even mention men. In fact, if you read it, you will love it." And then when they read it, they're like, "Oh, this is very inspirational." Because my son read it, and he was telling me, my younger son, he's like, "Mom, this is an inspirational book for everybody." I was like, "Yeah, but I'm just really trying to motivate the women and girls, because they need it. You just don't have it enough. And especially with them, having kids young and all these different things, they need the inspiration."
And as you was talking, I think really women who has dealt with domestic violence could profit from your book too,
Oh, yeah.
because they lose their foundation. And
They
that's
lose.
what I like about your book. It reestablished foundations.
Yeah, and boundaries. You have to set boundaries. And when you go past those boundaries and you allow anything, that's what gets people into trouble every time. So you have to have boundaries. You have to know your self-worth, and you have to love yourself so that you won't accept anything.
And don't feel guilty about it.
Don't feel guilty about it. No.
So,
Yep.
so if people wanted to contact you or get in touch with your book or purchase it, or want to get with you about branding information, or even for you to show up and give us a nice talk, how do they get in touch with you?
You will go to my website at CaDoriBrand.net. That's CaDoriBrand.net. Or you can email me at CaDoriBrand@gmail.com.
And CaDori, you
Yes.
are on the Truth Will Set You Free show. Give us a truth to remember you by.
Love yourself like no one else loves you, and never give up.
Amen.
Amen.
Wow. And you know, like I have to say this again, you touched the lives of your daughters. You touched the life of your siblings. And no telling what other relatives' lives you have touched because you picked up your bed and walked.
Yes.
And I just don't look at you in no victim survival mode. You walked in life.
Yeah.
And that's a big leap of faith.
Thank you.
And it's such an honor to
Thank
be
you.
in your presence, especially you being such a young lady.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for
And
having
you
me.
have to come back with whatever else you write so that I can.
Oh, I will. Keep you posted.
Keep doing what you're doing, and thank you for all that you give to life. You one of those people I wish we had millions more of.
Thank you, Linda.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Blessings. Bye-bye.
Blessings.